Episode 3.
Three, yes. We did the minisodes, then we did 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
This is episode 4. This is episode 5. I'm hedging my bets. I don't know. I've got good news. You've gone over the bad ones, John, so we can now discuss great Doctor Who cliffhangers.
All the best cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Well, let's not be a bit. The most successful cliffhanger two most successful cliffhangers I've known, because it got everyone talking about Doctor Who, Bad Wolf, Rose Coming to Get You, and Stolen Earth with the regeneration. I think maybe they don't have a big dramatic impact on itself, but my God, you want to see what happens next, and that's the whole point of a cliffhanger.
Interesting how, even though the Stolen Earth is a cheat, it's a cheat which is set up 3 years previously, because he gets his hand cut off, and then his hand picked up in Torchwood, and then the Master gets the hand, and then the hand gets the regeneration. So all built. It's all built as a sort of an arc to get him out of trouble.
A long game, if you will.
Yes, better than the long game.
I I won't hear a word said against long game.
It sets up bad,
I mean, one
which
or
is
two.
good.
Yes. With probably my favourite one, which is Kinder Part 2 and the Resolution,
Ah, yes.
which is the best postmodern piss take of a cliffhanger that there is. The Doctor and Todd stuck there with opening the box. There's supposed to be something fearsome in the box. You cut in. Nerys Hughes screams away that good one. Bang! There's a cliffhanger. And in those days, it was a 6-day wait on that because it was part 2. And you get to the resolution. There's nothing there. It's brilliant. It's totally breaking down the actual act of cliffhangers. It's someone being quite studenty and dramatic, but it's shot so well by Peter Grimwade. It's acted so well by Davison Hughes that it works brilliantly. I know people will talk about the cliffhanger at the end of part 3 being brilliant as well, which it is because it's such a memorable collision of images. Part 2, it's maybe, when I was a kid, you go, oh, is that it? But when you kind of watch it, when you get to your sort of maybe early teens, and you're suddenly going, bloody hell, that's clever.
And you know why the box doesn't work? Is the resolution there? It cleanses your mind. Richard Todd has already had his mind cleansed in the episode. The Doctor's got the zero room, and the concept is that it doesn't work on female characters because they're already meant to be wiser.
Yes.
But so that's why, because there's no one that needs to.
There's a deeper meaning in the story which does undercut the clever.
Yes.
Being clever. It's not like, is it Dragonfire, where they're trying to be clever, or where Ron Jones misses that shot in, or adds that unnecessary shot in Varos. It's, you pull the biggest cliffhanger you can. So obviously I'm going to mention the Big Bang. The Pandora opens into the Big Bang. Let's just destroy the universe here. Last of the Time Lords, decimated Earth. But the daddy of that cliffhanger, Inferno Part 6.
Yes. This is the end of the world.
Yeah, the world's ending. Beat that. And, and this is just a cliffhanger. How good is next week going to be?
I have to admit, I'm a contrarian here in that that's only my second favourite cliffhanger from Inferno. Because you know me, I love a good countdown cliffhanger.
Oh, yes.
The one where the Doctor, he's trying to stop them going into the crust, and he gets to the bait and he can't see, held by gunpoint. It's at 10, 9, 8, and it goes to the credits, and you hear it get to 0 and end over the start of the credits. You know he's failed. I do love a good countdown cliffhanger.
And that one has the effect, obviously, of flipping the story.
Yes.
As all the best cliffhangers do. Everything you know is wrong genre. Again, I'm going to stand up for the Dave Sneery here. Enlightenment first episode.
Oh yes, that's a really good one. Well, although they thought they were on a spaceship and they were on a spaceship.
Yeah. It's on a ship. It's sailing through space, but the visual of it is
Yes,
beautiful.
it's a great. They've got a visual idea and they work it perfectly.
It's employing the medium so absolutely beautifully.
I am glad that Fiona Cumming got that gig and not Ron Jones.
Oh God, yes. It's perfectly suited for Fiona Cumming, and I think it's until the Chibnall era, it's the only story to be written and directed by a woman or by women.
Possibly.
And I want to mention, which I don't think was mentioned on the on the crowdsource list that we have for here, the War Machines episode 3, which changes the whole series.
You're looking out for a hero and you've got one.
Yeah, it's the Doctor going from Wanderer. Ida Sloyd and Jerry Davis. It's what they want to refashion the show as, the Doctor as hero, and everything clicks. Just that moment, the War Machine going towards the Doctor, and William Hartnell standing there defiant. What an image!
Not even just that. It's the War Machine. You've already just seen it wipe out a battalion, so we know in terms of the story, it's unstoppable. The army fall back. The helpers fall back. Even Ben falls back. And William Hartnell standing there. Not only does he not fall back, he takes a step forward to block its path. And it's full on, Gandalf, thou shalt not pass.
1960 equivalent of Krista Eccleston's Rose, I'm coming to get you. And it's like, come on, give it, go on. Obviously, if you've got a DVD there, go and watch it again because it is fabulous.
The Doctor's putting an ultimatum down that he will get them out of the thing, even if he doesn't know how at that point. The Time of Angels is a similar one where he's like, what's the one thing you don't put in a trap? Me. And then he just does the one thing you're not meant to do right there.
What, put Graham Norton over the top of it?
Ambassadors of Death Part 2, which is the poster child for doesn't look notable on paper, but on screen.
It's directed the hell out of.
Yes. So well, and you've got Pertwee and Ronald Allen at the top of their game, and they build the tension. The Doctor taking charge goes, how many beans make 7? And he realizes it's a recording, and then he turns to someone off camera and goes, right, cut it open, and just goes straight into the credit screen right at that moment. I defy anyone to watch that cliffhanger, even if they're limiting themselves to one episode a day like some fans do, and not have to immediately watch part 3 to see what happens next.
I think you say it's not much on paper. I don't think it's much in the target novelizations, I remember. But obviously, Terence is compressing everything so much that there's little room to build the tension as you need to on it. But as on screen, the performances and the direction of it are just gorgeous.
Which is just as well because Ambassadors. Actually, no, I tell you, Ambassadors almost had knocked out the park with the cliffhanger because you've got that one, you've got Liz getting chased on the weir.
Yeah.
You've got the alien hiding behind the door, creeping up on him.
Yeah, and again, the memorable image,
yes, you've got the dramatic reveal that Carrington's an antagonist, which even if we know because we've been watching it, and the Doctor knows because he knew a healing moment. But unfortunately, it also has that weird bit where Talon just pulls a gun out on them because it's the end of the episode.
Yes, where the botched nature of the scripting becomes apparent. It's a miracle that the story holds together as well as it does. given what we know of all the writing and rewriting.
True. There are some stories which come so close to a full house of perfect cliffhangers. I always feel bad for is the Green Death. Because the reason it doesn't hit full house is through no fault of its own. So you've got part one where the lift has been sabotaged, the doctor's trying to save Joel from dying. Great cliffhanger. Part two, the maggots get revealed and they're trapped.
Yeah. And again, this was one that Carolyn mentioned as one of her absolute favourites, one she remembers from being a kid, along with the Sea Devils reveal.
Sure, that's one of the moments that sealed my fate as a Doctor Who fan. Needing to find out what happened next. Part three.
I'm going to tell Carolyn that she will be delighted.
Part three, the maggot sneaking up on Joe Grant.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great Jeopardy moment. Part four. Sorry, go ahead.
I have to. That the maggot sneaking up on Joe. How well is that done in the novelization?
I read it in Lanzarote in '93, and I was like, literally had nightmares. I was like, that was me. What, 7 years old?
Yeah, and you've got the illustration there of Joe in the chair, like
yes. I kept thinking that these creatures were going to show up at any moment. Episode 4 has the reveal that the boss is Boss, the computer.
Yeah.
Before they'd ever really done, well, obviously Wotan, that was over a decade previous. A wonderful voice performance by John Derf. And then you've got part 5.
Yep.
It shows you what the intent was for the original script, is that throughout Green Death, the one decent man in power has been Tony Adams' Elgin. He has had doubts. He's been the one that wants to do the good thing, and they've been slowly trying to convert them. And in part 5, you're going to find out that they had managed to finally take his brain over, only for him to revert back to good. And just as he's done that, they kill him. And that's the dramatic, oh shoot, what are we going to do now? The one person who we can count on is dead. Unfortunately, in real life, Tony Adams suffered a really nasty case of appendicitis and had to get rushed to hospital. And therefore, he couldn't film when they were filming part 5. So, on screen, to make do with this massive black hole in the script, they brought Roy Skelton in. Now, Roy Skelton is obviously a legend. I don't say anything bad about Roy Skelton, you know, TV legend, great guy. But him appearing as a character just to be killed at the cliffhanger does not have the same resonance that this character we've known for 5 weeks would have.
But you can imagine it's Uncle Terence going, right, that's all the test card.
That's where the Green Death feels, but it's a misfortunate feeling because it's nobody could have foreseen a key actor nearly dying and needing emergency hospital care. You cannot legislate for that.
It's a production emergency completely. Yeah. And you can say over the course of a series you might be able to recast, but in one story, not a hope.
Around the cliffhanger of Small Potatoes, they saved Tony Adams' life and he's now in his 80s.
He's still with us as we record.
As we record. Well, Touchwood, he's 83. Do you think there are any stories which have an 100% success record in their cliffhangers?
I would certainly argue that there are, and I don't go with the new series of the teaser sequence plus the new one. I would suggest that we talk the horror of Fang Rock here, because let's face it, as Doctor Who fans, one of the most influential writers on us is Uncle Terry. No question. If you're a Doctor Who fan, there's no question on it. Sorry, my generation, it's Target novelizations, Pertwee. The generation that came in the 90s, which found it, it's Pertwee. Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat, big fans of that era, always sing Uncle Terry's praise. And Uncle Terry, the thing he is absolutely brilliant on is structure. He knows how to shape a story. So, Horror Fang Rock, first episode, pretty standard Doctor Who first episode, sets up the situation, find out where you are, and then you get to the end of the story, end of the first episode, the story changes. You've got the you've got that the shipwreck coming in, and and you're going, oh, okay, fresh bodies coming into this situation, and then episode 2.
Good old Colin Douglas has gone down to the boiler room, knowing that there could be danger there. And just as they're trying to reassure the rest of the characters everything's okay, you hear him screaming and the lights go out.
What the devil is that? Story twists again. There goes another one. Part 3. And again, this is something you see in Remembrance as well, with that part 3. It's something you see in the Cartmel era with Dr. Suddenly going, bugger. I thought I was winning here. It's part of the 3 act thing. It's the reversal in the hero's journey. Looking at the camera and realizing, I thought I'd locked the alien out. So I thought the base was under siege. Oh no! Actually you're in the thing.
Yes, you've logged it in with us. It's Colin Douglas in his written guise. I love the story of how the producer, Graham Williams, for that one.
He was at that, yes.
He wanted to veto some of the casting choices that Paddy Russell wanted to make. And one of them was Colin Douglas as Ribbon in this dual role, because he didn't think the actor was suited for it. But Paddy Russell kind of put her usual foot down and was like, no, I know actors. So they got him in to rehearse in front of the producer and the production team. And the point where it says in the script or something, the written flashes a smile disguises when Colin Douglas flashed a smile you see on screen and scared the entire production team shitless. To quote Paddy Russell, she knew he'd be good, she didn't know he'd be that good.
I always think it kind of gets taken for granted because it's almost like, obviously you being Agatha Christie, but it's almost like a template for a Doctor Who story. It is a base under siege to a certain degree, and it turns everything around quite happily.
I love how Terrance Dicks took Bob Holmes' revenge mission, which was Bob Holmes was asked to do Time Warrior. So when he was script editor, he said, "Here, Terrance, I think you should do one about a lighthouse. I know nothing about lighthouses. Here's a book of lighthouses. Off you go."
Yes,
he took that and
book of lighthouses.
he turned it into like the template of how to do a enclosed, sieged, eerie Doctor Who. I do agree that all 3 cliffhangers and Fang Rock are great. In fact, Fang Rock is in my top 10. 2 bits that always amused me from the pivotal Part 3 cliffhanger. One is Tom Baker's weird pronunciation of lycanthropy. The other one is that the moment when Leela goes, "That can't be, I saw him earlier," all of a sudden Louise Jameson's accent drops and it gets kept in the final edit. So you actually hear her actual accent instead of her Leela voice. Moments like that just make it even better. One of the weird things about Fang Rock is that, Lord Palmerdale is Sean Caffrey.
Yes.
The actor. And he is the IRA gunman from Edge of Darkness.
Oh, shit, yeah.
You would not know those 2 roles were the same guy.
No, not in the slightest. I'm going to say the Daleks master plan, don't worry. I'm going to plump for my favourite era, and I'm going to say Remembrance of the Daleks.
That was on my list, so yes, I agree.
I'd say that much as I like season 24 now, I was as down as our good friend Icy at the time, because that was the one time after that I sort of 13, 14, I started drifting a bit away stopped buying DWM, didn't buy the Target novels for the first time in whatever it was, 7 or 8 years. And then Remembrance comes back up. This was the first episode of we had a video recorder for. So it's the first episode of Doctor Who I was ever going to have on my own to watch and tape. So it's going to stick it in. Here we go. Settle down. Hey, Tony, Daleks, this is good. The effects are good. Get to the end. Oh, Doctor's trapped in the basement. Oh, door's locked. Oh, hang on. Oh, he's gone up the stairs. And the Dalek doesn't need to go, but it's perfect. Because the Dalek has a cruel mindset to it. It likes a terror. And just the moment that effect comes round the base, and it's like, I have waited decades for this. Screw you, the playground. I don't care. And then the heads-up display, McCoy's face, terrified. I was back in. I have never left since. You can point out all the flaws in it to me, the production flaws, how cheap it is, whatever. I don't care. It's one of the platonically perfect episodes for me. I think the second one, what's brilliant about the second one is Ace is still a new companion at this point, and she just goes off. I'll go back to the school. Comes back. No thought of being out there. No thought of how dangerous the universe is. Oh, there's a Dalek. Run, smack it around. Comes back. No, there's several Daleks coming at you.
They're all everywhere.
Oh. And again, when we talk about a third cliffhanger, there are two factions of Daleks. The spaceship lands in the playground. The Doctor just has one look and does his equivalent of, oh, bugger. The polite, I think I may have miscalculated. Again, you can tell me what you like about the McCoy era, you can tell me what you like about Remembrance. I don't care. It's one of those things I can put on, and I will never tire of it till the day I die. So, Michael.
Yes.
Have you got any other stories which you reckon have a full house of cliffhangers? Try them a Time Lord, perchance?
Yeah, those Colin Baker stairs. They're just the 10th planet, for an example, is there for 2 out of 3. But you've got the opening cliffhanger, which is possibly the greatest of the creature reveals they ever do.
Oh, it's so beautifully. Martinez is such a good director on that front.
The way that they,
so powerfully framed.
Having killed poor old Tito, the human hand goes on his fur coat, and the camera pans up to see the dead eyes. That's just. I've seen evidence from the junior points of view that the kids were sold on the Cybermen from that one shot, and I can see why.
Oh, totally. It is good, and it's really nicely sort of picked up as a big dramatic moment by Jerry Davison in the novelization as well. Wow factor of it. Part
3 is it's another countdown one. I love the way that Martinez films it, and that he superimposes the countdown on screen, and then he goes along every character, so you see their reactions to events on their faces without them saying anything. And then for those who haven't seen it, we're aware that if the countdown fails, he's going to execute the Doctor. So there's jeopardy in this countdown. And as it cuts to 10, the camera zooms right back in on General Cutler, Robert Beattie's face, and you can see that he's gone completely insane. And that's him smiling. It's the countdown goes to 1, and that.
Oh, it's so gorgeously sold, isn't it?
Unfortunately, where 10th Planet doesn't work for a full home run, is episode 2's look, there's lots of things on the screen. They're going to get to us next week. McCoy era ones, like your favourite greatest show in the galaxy. Part 3 is a great cliffhanger with the werewolf reveal.
Yes.
part one is a good cliffhanger, but if they just cut it a second earlier with the reveal of the clown,
Yeah, the chief
wasn't
fan.
it would have been that it
Yes.
would have been classic.
As Jeff pointed out earlier, I was like,
Yes,
yeah,
Jeff Hughes,
absolutely right.
one of our writer friends. Yes, the captain's in cahoots, but we already knew that, so it doesn't really work as a cliffhanger for me.
It showed it to absolute death, and you know I've defended it to anyone in my time, but I don't think the cliffhangers are the strongest in it.
In a similar one is Curse of Fenric, where you've got episode 2, the machines are nuts. Episode 3 is the great cliffhanger of that season, where we can trust Nicholas Parsons. Oh shoot, he's been killed. At least we know Dinsdale's on our side. Oh no, he's dead. That's two allies dead. Millington's gone nuts. And wait, the corpse of Justin has risen from up, and he's possessed by this evil from beyond the grave. Unfortunately, where Fenric runs short is that episode 1 was meant to end with the scene where the dead soldier under the water opens his eyes. Should have been such a freaky cliffhanger for a child. But because of timing issues, episode 1 ends 2 minutes earlier, where they're just being surrounded by the soldiers instead. It's not nearly as effective.
That part 3 cliffhanger, just with Dinsdale Landon coming up into the eyes, and
it's just so well done.
Time Lord, and it's just that little pause between we play the concert again and Time Lord. It's like,
yes,
where's that come from? It's like, yes.
That's where you know that it's not a case of it's something else has taken over the body of Justin completely.
Absolutely.
Something no.
It's ghost light as well. That part 2 cliffhanger.
Light.
What's coming? Light.
It's good.
It's almost like you can't look away. It's almost literally you can't look.
There are stories which knock out the park 100%. One has been mentioned previously, but not really. Kinda. Part 1, you've got the reveal that Hindle's gone nuts, and that is so difficult to play convincingly, yet they do it, and I'm never quite sure how they manage to get it just on the right lines.
It's genuinely is one of the great performances in 60 years. It's being mad. The tendency is to go big. It's the quietness of the performance almost, and then the little explosion. Obviously you can't mend people.
Oh, he's got the power of life and death over all of you.
I have the power of death over all of. Oh yeah,
we've mentioned episode.
It's that first one is the situation's out of control. The second one, as we've said earlier, it's cleverly advancing the story while completely while critiquing the whole cliffhanger thing.
Yes.
And then the imagery of that third cliffhanger. Oh my God, gorgeous.
It does probably the Peter Davison story.
Yeah, and again, you can make an argument. With the chaos of it, with the time running down thing. Again, you can argue that it's as much engaged in criticising the concept of the cliffhanger as part 2 is.
But it also shows it's also a case of it's the doctors seen the prophecy. The prophecies are always meant to be right, and the prophecy says that the world is going to end. How's he going to solve that? Oh wait, the one person who knows is dead. Tune in next time. But I do love the overall message at the heart of Kinda, which is the wise man knows how little he knows.
Yes. I love Panna's constant, shut up, fool. You can only get away with that if you've got someone with the authority of Mary Morris there.
Yes.